I'm going to welcome first, the first colleague we're having up on the stage is Mr. Shawn Charlie. Shawn, welcome. Lekker to have you with us. Shawn's the regional manager for Sifa. He's been passionate about SMEs all his life. I mean, I look at your CV, you say 15 years, so he's quite a young guy. But prior to doing this, he's actually had a career in auditing, both internal and external auditing, investments and development finance. And Shawn started his career at Ernst & Young, then moved to business partners before he joined as the regional manager in March 2019. So Shawn, it's a privilege to have you here today. I'm going to hand over to you to share your presentation and to tell us a little bit about Sifa. Thank you.
Thanks, Rashid, and thanks for having me. And also, I would like to thank all the entrepreneurs, stakeholders, colleagues that has joined for this webinar. So from my side, Sifa, it has always been, it's always been being said, what's the function of Sifa and where does Sifa really fit into our ecosystem of SME funding. So I would normally say Sifa is like the young teenager. We've been around for almost 10 years now, and we have developed skills inside of Sifa in terms of deal structuring and finding products that will enable businesses to grow. I mean, we still have a lot to learn. There's still a lot of lessons that we have learned over the years, and I mean, we're looking at these systems in terms of how we can improve them and also trying to make them also more accessible for entrepreneurs. In terms of the department now, small business department, we are actually the funding arm where our counterparts at SEFA has more the non-financial support. So this is actually where we fit in terms of the economic cluster. In terms of SEFA, our funding channels, so there's quite a few funding avenues in SEFA. One is the microfinance division that we have. We have SME wholesale lending, which is also on lending onto onto other smaller investment companies that assist SMEs. We have the Kula credit guarantee, where they normally stand as surety for any of the banks that has facilities to assist entrepreneurs. And then where I fit in is in direct lending, where we deal directly with SMEs and see how they develop. So all of these, if you can see, it's sort of divisions that has sort of been consolidated into the entity that we call SEFA. And then post-investment is also a key, I would say, one of our very important divisions in SEFA, where they continue with monitoring the investments that has been made and to ensure that the businesses grow and build a track record for themselves. So this is where collection, restructuring, see if there's mentors required, which I also see is quite a important division in any financial institution. In direct lending, we look at funding, startups, expansions, acquisitions, asset finance, term loans. The criteria is normally South African citizens because of the fact that we are using public funds, state funds, which comes from from Treasury. So in terms for us to develop the country and to ensure that skills are here, we're looking at South African residents, citizens with all permanent resident citizens, individuals. The business must be registered in South Africa. The owner of the businesses that we invest in must be the majority shareholder and must be actively involved in the business. Tax clearance certificates, PINs, it's also needed. And then compliance, which is for me quite important. Whatever industry that your business is trading in, you should have the necessary compliance because of the laws around it. So so these are some of the just the criteria that we have. In terms of our exclusion, so this is industries that we don't get into, or it's businesses that are in certain situations that maybe some sort of circumstance that it's experiencing that we can't really assist with. The sun industries, unfortunately, we are not allowed to consider those applications. Individuals, and there's been quite a few during this COVID period where people have been placed under debt review. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to consider those applications. Labor brokers, insolvent entities, and shareholders also has been, has been seen as one of our exclusions. When we look at funding, we look at funding from, from certain information that we would need. So this is normally the company information, the shareholders, the ownership structure, production of the business, if it's in a specific industry. But market is quite the key for us. We need to understand who's the targeted market. And also, is there really a need that you are solving? That's actually the key thing in terms of our deal making. What problem is being solved by this SME? But it differs, the template differs from business to business. And this is where we would like to engage with the entrepreneurs to understand the business model so that we can see how we can assist the business. In terms of our being Entrepreneurship Month, one of the products that we have is really one of the products that I really am quite close to is the Amavulandlela. It's our disability fund. So this is just for mentioning some of the exciting funds that we have, which is at 2% interest, fixed, So it's a fund where we encourage entrepreneurs with a specific disability to also form part of the economy where they can have their own business and grow their business. So this fund is really a soft fund so that we can make sure that entrepreneurs with disabilities are not excluded, from the mainstream economies. And this is one of the funds that I would really like to encourage entrepreneurs to have. Any sort of disability that they're living with, they can definitely approach our offices. Then we have the Township and the Rural Entrepreneurship Program. These are programs where we as SEFA with the department and SEDA has designed products where we want the economy of these areas to be self-sustainable. So even not only in our country, I mean, it's across the continent, even in the States, Europe, and on the East, where everybody's talking about localization. Localization is the buzzword across the world, where everyone is talking about being job creators opposed to job seekers. So this fund is actually a fund that also speaks to that, where we want certain communities to be self-sustainable, where they can build their businesses by trading with each other. So the bakery can trade with the clothing business, with the informal restaurant, spaza shops, automotive, butcheries, fruit and vegetables, personal care. So just a simple example, if I should go to a wedding, then I can maybe, if I'm going to a specific community where I'm invited for a wedding, I can approach the bakery for the cake. I can go to the clothing guy who can do my suit. I can grab maybe something to eat before the wedding. The spaza shop if I need some snacks, or the automotive, they can fix my brake pads, Same with the butcheries, the personal care is the guy who can cut my hair and so forth. But the main thing is the fund stays in that community, the funds remains in that area, and that actually, transitions where it can uplift the economy, of that community. And then the community becomes self-sustainable and where they trade with each other. And this fund is really exciting. I mean, same with our manufacturing fund, where we also have a key focus on locally produced products, where we want to assist and invest in those businesses that are viable. Our contact details, I'm prepared to share my direct numbers as well. And and from our side, we really would like to encourage entrepreneurs. COVID has, brought, a lot of anxieties, a lot of doubt. But I firmly believe, coming from a family of entrepreneurs, that, we as South Africans, we are the most innovative entrepreneurs. History has proven it. And we should continue, striving, to build our economy, rebuild our economy, never to lose hope, because entrepreneurs are really the real role models of our communities, in my opinion. And I believe that, with entrepreneurship, that's actually our only goal now going forward to really restore our economy. And I would also like to encourage all entrepreneurs never to lose hope and also believe and trust in your abilities. And I thank you.